I personally think that I am an alien. And I also think that everyone watching this is probably an alien, because if you're attracted to me, then you're probably also an alien, and we probably also lived on the same alien planet together before coming to this earth. Hello, my lovelies. Welcome back to Safe Space with Kira Graves. I just checked, and this is the 30th episode. Oh my gosh. I'm so proud of my consistency with this. And the little breaks in between I took, in between recording, I was burnt out. And that's why it took so long to get to this season too, because I was burnt out as fuck. Like, I literally moved into this new apartment, and about a week later, I got like the stomach flu. And then I was like, okay. And then I recovered. I was like, okay, I'm good. We still had to unpack. We still had to do all these things. And then 2 weeks later after that, I got a cold. And then I recovered, and then I got another cold. And it was just like a series of getting sick. And I was like, what is going on? Like, why is my body failing me? That is actually the topic of today's episode. We're going to be talking about burnout, the dangers of burnout, how to tell when you're approaching a burnout, and what actually might lead to burnout. And I'm just going to be speaking from my own experience. You might not relate. You might relate. I don't know. But I'm just putting my story out there to see who can relate. And I feel like people don't talk about burnout enough, because we live in such a go, go, go workaholism culture. Like, working your fucking ass off is praised in this culture. And I know there's even going to be people being like, well, why is working your ass off bad, Kira? You need to work hard for your goals. Okay. Work smart and work intentional, but not hard. This is my whole theory, okay? Work intentionally. Take action based on your intuition and your intuitive hits with intention, but not blindlessly based on ego, which is what I've been doing for my whole life. And, you know, I've recently kind of made the switch to more intentional versus more ego driven. And I'm just a lot happier, less stressed, and I'm putting less pressure on myself, because I realize that, you know, a lot of the things that I do, like a lot of the action steps I do take, the execution is done by the universe flowing through me. Like, there is, you know, little I have to do, but just surrender to the universe flowing through me. Now, if this sounds like a bunch of woo-woo, hang tight. I'm going to be talking about workaholism and burnout, okay? Ba-ba-da-da-ba-ba. A little background on me. I grew up with a single mom. She raised me all by herself. I love her. And she's always been such a hard worker, and she's always encouraged me to do the same. This is such a good thing to be passed down to me, honestly. However, I think that, you know, I might have overdone it. I might have seen, you know, my worth based on what I can do and what I can accomplish and what I can achieve, and material accomplishments that look good on the outside to other people, but not what was going to be fulfilling to me. So I think for the longest time, I've been chasing goals that have been driven by my ego. These types of things, like I said, they looked good to other people. And when I accomplished them, I got a little ego satisfaction, but it wasn't like a full, whole body and soul satisfaction. Do you know what I mean? I feel like I'm trying to like put this into an easier concept to grasp. Let me tell a story, actually. A couple years ago, I wrote down in my manifestation journal that I wanted to be on a red carpet for a queer movie, playing a queer role at a Toronto film festival. And I had this in my mind. I wrote this down in my journal. I was manifesting this actively. I visualized it. I did guided meditations on it. And I really saw myself at that red carpet getting those photos taken. And guess what? 4 years later, that actually happened. Took 4 years, but sometimes it does. The universe has its own timeline, and when we try and fuck with it, we just get frustrated. Anyways, it happened. It happened when I actually let go of it. And it happened when I didn't really care about it anymore. Like I literally I was like, yeah, like I don't really care if that happens. I've kind of shifted directions in like what's most fulfilling to me. And getting my picture taken on a red carpet is not the most fulfilling career moment for me anymore. But it was 4 years ago. I knew I had this red carpet coming up. It was for a film called We Forgot to Break Up. Great movie, by the way, if you ever get to see it. Incredible trans and queer artists leading the cast and musicians. Highly recommend. Anyways, I did the red carpet and it didn't satisfy my ego because I haven't been leading with my ego anymore. Normally, in the past, let's say 4 years ago, that would have tickled my ego so hard. I would have been like, oh my God, I get to show everyone that I was in a movie on a red carpet. Like, it was more about like bragging rights. It was like, I'm going to post this picture on my Instagram and everyone's going to see that I'm successful and talented and I get everything I want. And that was kind of my intention behind the goal that I wanted to manifest that I didn't realize until literally now. Or until literally after the red carpet when I was like, why don't I feel like, I just feel like normal about this. Like this doesn't give me a surge of like, rah, like Hulk energy. I was kind of just like, cool, what's next? You know what I mean? And that was a really shocking reaction because I was expecting it to feel like so like, oh yeah, like my ego is just strengthened so much. I'm like, yes, like I'm the shit. And like, it's crazy because I just don't feel like I need to prove anything to anyone anymore. And that's a really cool place to be in. It takes a bit to get to that mindset, but it was kind of a cool moment to realize, wow, I don't actually need that kind of external validation anymore. Back to the topic of the episode, workaholism, okay? I thought that in order to achieve my dreams, I had to push, work, until my body literally disintegrates into a piece of dust. Like I have been programmed to push my body, push my mind to the fucking limits, like constantly thinking about all the little things I can do and I should do. Should, notice the word should. I should do in order to accomplish my goals and I need to just gritting my teeth, working so hard just for that little ego satisfaction. And I realized that is not the type of satisfaction that I find most fulfilling anymore. And it's okay if it is for some people, and it's okay that it was for previous me. But I'm just at the place now where the inner shifts and the inner accomplishments are just so much more fulfilling to me. Like, for example, when I, conquer a fear that's been, riddling my psyche for years, that's a big accomplishment. Or, having a full day where I'm not worried about the future, or having a full day where I'm not blaming myself for stuff that's out of my control. Those are kind of like the types of inner goals and accomplishments that I work towards now. And it's not like a striving. It doesn't feel like it's so outside of myself. It feels like it's fully accomplishable. And I'm not saying this to be like, oh, look at me. Like I've grown so much and I don't need ego satisfaction. Like I'm just like this spiritual being. Like, no, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying this for that reason. I'm kind of talking about how, when you make that shift from ego to higher self, you don't have to effort so hard. The key is actually to surrendering. The trick here that I've been really it's been on the tip of my nose. The way to get to the goals and dreams that I want is actually through surrendering. And it's not through so much blind, meaningless action. I think that, for the longest time, I was just taking action out of a place of scarcity. I was taking so much action out of, I need to get to where I want and I'm not there yet. So I have to like strive and push and force and fill my days with all of these unnecessary actions that aren't really going to lead me to my goal, but they're just going to like trick my ego into thinking that I'm being productive. Whoa. Yeah, that's it. Tricking my ego into thinking I'm being productive when also productive is just such a like, it's such a consumerist, society-forced concept. Like you have to always be productive. And if you're not productive, then you're worthless. You know, like if God forbid you want to take a day to just do nothing and rest on the beach, oh, you're not being productive. And it's almost like there's blame on us. There's shame on us for resting, for taking that time off, and for actually letting some of that like external stress off of our plate. I feel like society has conditioned us to look at that as a negative thing, as like an ugly characteristic. But I actually think like resting and taking time to nurture your well-being is such a productive thing, and you know, arguably one of the most productive things you can do. Now let's get into the signs that you may be burnt out. I'm just going to be speaking from my own experience and, you know, the signs that I experience when I am on the verge of a burnout or when I'm in a burnout. When I'm on the verge of a burnout, I'm most likely not taking any time for myself, and I'm committing to a lot of things for other people. I'm giving away too much of my energy. That's how I know I'm on the edge of a burnout. But sometimes I don't know I'm doing that. So in those moments, I guess just stop and reflect and be like, what have I done today for myself? You know, it's great to do things for other people, of course. I always encourage you to, you know, help a friend out. But when that's all you're doing, when all of your energy is going towards like giving away your power and giving away your energy to other people, that is when you could be burning yourself out. Does that make sense? An example of this is maybe you wake up and straight away in the morning, you check your emails so you can provide for other people's needs. What do they need from you, right? Like you're thinking about constantly, how can I be perfect for everyone? How can I satisfy people? And I think that this also comes from a history of people pleasing personally. And that comes from trauma that I don't need to get into right now. But if you suspect or you think you might be a people pleaser, this is maybe something that you're not aware of that you might be doing, is worrying too much about other people's needs and not paying attention to your own needs. So if you do think, if something's going off in your head right now, like, oh, like shit, like I might be doing that, you don't need to worry. The recognition of this is the most important thing, and the choice to make a change. Do one thing every day for yourself. Self-care, baby. Self-care. Always advocate for it. So for me, I love doing yoga. I love reading my book, going on walks, just whatever is going to replenish your energy. Take energy from source and put it back in you and keep it. I think we might have a habit of giving away too much of our energy. So when we do that, now's the perfect time to go inwards and recharge ourselves with our own energy. Maybe what you need to do is watch Netflix all day in bed. And if you need to do that, there's no shame in that. If you need to take a nap, if you need to sleep in, those are perfect ways of recharging our batteries. And when you do recharge your batteries, you can give of yourself so much easier and so much healthier. Another sign you might be on the verge of a burnout is you're just feeling lethargic all day. Like you wake up and you're not really feeling energized or refreshed. And maybe you wake up with spinning thoughts. That's been happening like my whole life, basically. And maybe you rely on stimulants to keep you awake and keep you doing what you need to be doing all day. Now, if you do this, no shame, right? We love our coffee. I don't mean to say stop drinking coffee or whatever. But sometimes when I'm relying too heavily on coffee, I know that, maybe I'm getting burnt out. Like I don't have enough of my own energy to get me throughout the day. Like I need to be chugging coffee. And, if you're doing this, again, no shame to you. You do what you need to do to get your shit done. I get it. But this is just an indicator to me. Normally I can get through the day without a coffee. I don't rely on coffee anymore. And so, when I do find myself needing it, I'm like, okay, I don't have enough of my own energy reserves to spend. Like I need to have caffeine to block my tired receptors and be like, you're fine. Blah, blah, blah. It's like the parasites within me want the coffee. Blah. Another sign you could be on the verge of a burnout is if you are having a really hard time getting your work done. Or you just don't want to do it at all. You just don't want to do anything, for a matter of fact. That is a signal that your body is saying that you need to rest. The best remedy for a burnout is rest. I think that goes without saying. But, if you just can't focus at work, if you just can't seem to get your to-do list done, that could be a sign. That could also be a sign that maybe, what you're doing is not fulfilling to you. Maybe there needs to be a shift in your priorities. Maybe you're doing something that isn't the most, soul satisfying. I think that I've burnt myself out on activities that aren't the most soul satisfying. And I think also when you are doing soul satisfying activities, you won't be burnt out because you'll be so in tune with and in harmony with the source, with the universe, with spirit, that you will be energized by this energy. I think this goes for a lot of things, is that if you're doing anything, any activity or any, commitment that is draining you rather than exciting you, that could be a sign that maybe something's not aligned. But anyways, that's a different topic. Ah, yes, racing thoughts. I have had a habit of feeling like I need to do everything all at once. And obviously that is not achievable because we are not AI. We are human beings. And, we're not machines. We need to take it easy on our bodies. They're living, breathing organisms. We don't ask our flowers to bloom. Come on, why don't you bloom? You're stupid. We just let the flowers unfold and bloom at the perfect time that they're supposed to. So we operate so similar to that. We're always going through cycles. You might be in a period where you actually might be really action-oriented at this time. Ooh. But we also get into cycles or parts of the cycle where what our soul needs of us is to mainly rest. And rest, digest, introspect, take inventory, heal. And maybe that's where you're at right now. But maybe you're pushing yourself as if you are in the part of the cycle where it's action-oriented. Do you get what I'm saying? Imagine like the seasons. When we are tired, when our bodies are tired, maybe we're craving rest, maybe we need to do some inner work, some healing, some, being by ourselves. That's like our winter. That's like our hibernation period. And we all go through those natural cycles, okay? And in our summers, maybe we're really active. But that activity should never feel like a chore or that it's burning you out. There's a point in your cycle where it's natural to be active. And that's okay too. Like, for example, right now, I feel like I am really active with my content and my podcast, and I'm, being very quote unquote productive, but the work that I'm doing is still balanced and it's not burning me out. So what I'm trying to say is you could be in the part of the cycle where you need to rest, but you're pushing your body, or your ego might be pushing your body to, accomplish, achieve, push. You picking up what I'm putting down? I sound like a dad. That's such a dad phrase. It's literally a grandpa phrase. I think I touched on this in the beginning of the episode, but another sign you might be on the verge of a burnout is if you're committing to too many things and not able to go through with them. Maybe you're canceling a lot of plans. And if you need to cancel plans, that's a good thing. But I'm saying, committing too much of your energy outwardly might be burning you out. And what you need to do is focus inwardly, take some time for yourself, do your self-care, do your inner work, etc. And the final kind of tip-off that your body tells you that you're on the on a burnout and you're in a burnout now, is when you're consistently getting sick. That's the final straw. But your body won't do that until it can't go on any longer. So if you're consistently getting sick, like that is a sign from your body that you need to rest. So like I was saying before, when I first moved into this new apartment, I got sick like 3 times, like consecutively. And I knew, okay, it was obviously a lot on my body to move and, just relocate my life. And I feel like also as an autistic person, that takes a lot of energy out of me. And I also had a lot of like work changes going on. And it was just a lot. Like if there's been a lot going on in your life, it's valid to experience a burnout. But just notice those cues from your body and what they're trying to tell you. Another thing that just popped into my head is I know that I might be pushing myself too hard when I have really painful periods. Maybe when I push myself too hard throughout the month, that month's period is really painful and it requires me to literally do nothing. And it just wipes out all the energy from me. So if you're a female or an AFAB person, this might apply to you too. Because I also have periods where it's very light and I'm still able to, go throughout my day, no problem. The cramps aren't too bad. I have energy. And those are the months where I kind of know, okay, like I've been balancing my rest, work, play cycle pretty well. But the past period I just had was, it was a doozy. Speaking from experience, the best way that I've been able to heal after a burnout is to just rest. And I think that this varies for the person. I think this is person dependent on how long you need to rest. Sometimes it's a couple days, a day, maybe a nap here and there. And sometimes it is like a full-on 1 to 2 week doing absolutely nothing. And I also get how we have responsibilities, right? Like we have work, we have to make money, we have school, we need to finish our course, we need to take care of kids or siblings or whatever it may be. But maybe this is the time to really ask ourselves, how much of this can we handle? Are we content with the amount of effort we are putting into something? And are we watering a seed that is going to fulfill our soul in the future? And you might be asking, how do I know if something's going to be soul fulfilling or if something's just going to be more of a shallow ego fulfilling? To me, I always find what's the most soul fulfilling is to help others. So literally doing exactly what I'm doing right now is so fulfilling to me. I enjoy it so much that I just get this like surge of excitement and energy and everything's flowing. Everything's flowing. When everything's just effortlessly flowing, that's how you know you're on the right track to something that's soul fulfilling. I am of the opinion that anything that is soul fulfilling is not going to drain you. Unpopular opinion, maybe, but that is my hot take. Because the effort that you're putting in, the action that you're doing, it doesn't necessarily even come from your human body. It comes from the spirit that is animating you and the spirit that is linked to everything else in this universe, which is so effortless. What makes a tree grow? I'm looking at this massive tree in my backyard. Like, what made that grow? It wasn't the tree itself, but it was the energetic field that is coursing through the tree. So if you think about that and you think about the work you have to do, if something you're doing is making you happy, then it's the energy that's flowing through you that's doing most of the work. And that's why it won't drain you. Because you're actually being energized. You're not being drained. You're putting energy into yourself. And when you put energy into yourself, you can give energy away. But when you're doing the opposite, when you're giving out, giving, and not keeping some for yourself, that is when you can get drained. I want to conclude this episode by introducing something called the spoon theory to you. And this has been really helpful for me as a neurodivergent person, someone on the autism spectrum. You know, we may have limited spoons already. I honestly think the spoon theory can apply to everyone, but some say, you know, it's been introduced in circles like in the neurodivergent community and the chronic illness community. But basically, it talks about how, you know, we have a limited number of spoons each day. You know, if we're giving away, let's say we have 12 spoons a day, and we have to take the dog for a walk, we have to go to work, we have to make dinner, and we have to exercise. Each of those activities requires a certain amount of spoons. And what you can do is when you wake up in the morning, take inventory of how many spoons do I have today and how many can I give away to each activity. And maybe I need to cancel on an activity, or maybe I can move an activity to another day because I just have limited spoons today. And as an autistic person, this has really helped me avoid burnout because I don't give away spoons that I don't have anymore, because that's what was burning me out too. You know, especially in the way of like socializing. I only have a limited number of social spoons. So if I went to a friend get together last night and today I have to make a phone call to this phone service provider, I might have no spoons today to call the phone service provider. So maybe I will push that to tomorrow or the next day when I have more spoons. Does that make sense? I hope that helps in terms of like, you know, avoiding burnout and preventing yourself from expending the energy that you don't have. I'm going to leave you with that. I hope this helped you. Please let me know if it did. If you are watching this on YouTube, please leave me a comment and let me know what else you want me to talk about. If you are listening to this on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, please give me a rating. It helps out so much. Share this with a friend who you think might need it or use it. And with that, have a wonderful day. I love you and take care of yourself. Remember to rest. Mwah.